Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on, everybody, and welcome to game day for the Auburn Tigers men's basketball team. It is our first game in about 2 weeks or so. Been off for the last couple of weeks, Christmas break, all of that good stuff. So the Auburn Tigers are back in action tonight at Neville Arena, taking on Monmouth. Should be obviously a rout for the Tigers. South Alabama is hosting Mobile, so I will be at that game tonight as well. However, it is Monday, of course, and we have not talked the transfer portal at all. We are going to be talking the 2025 transfer portal. We're going to talk the classes, what every team pretty much is doing right now. We're going to go over the top 10 classes here in the transfer portal. We're going to break down everything pretty much for the transfer portal since it has officially closed. But first, of course, if you guys are new to the channel, you already know what to do. Leave a like, subscribe, turn that bell on as we do our best to post on this channel every single day. With that being said, of course, tomorrow you guys are going to have NFL reactions. Then Wednesday, you guys, of course, are going to have NFL predictions. Not sure Thursday, Friday, obviously, we will play some EA Sports college football as well. So, if you guys are new to the channel, hit that sub button, leave a comment down below, and let's go ahead and talk about the 2025 college football transfer portal. Alright, so starting the class rankings, we're going to talk about the top 10 classes for the most part here. Number 1 being the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Number 2 being the Ole Miss Rebels. Number 3 being, of course, the Michigan Wolverines. Number 4, the Missouri Tigers, which is actually very shocking. We'll talk about them here in a second. Number 5, Oregon. Number 6, LSU. We'll talk about Brian Kelly, all of that stuff here coming up shortly. Number 7, UCLA. Number 8, Florida State. Number 9, Auburn. And number 10, Texas A&M. So, we are, of course, going to be going backwards to forwards on this one. I'm getting my transfer portal stuff kind of set up here. We're going to talk about Texas A&M first. The number 10 transfer class here in the 2025 class. A couple of notable transfers. Kevin Concepcion, the transfer out of NC State, the wide receiver transfer. You got TJ Searcy, the transfer from Florida. I believe he's a linebacker, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's an edge rusher. You get another edge rusher, and Jasimbel Mbate from Georgia, I believe is that. Obviously, those are just the notable ones. A lot of 4 stars, 1 5-star plus coming out of high school. Micah Hudson, the wide receiver from Texas Tech, who committed to Texas A&M as well. So, obviously, from what it looks like, they focused a lot on wide receivers and they focused a lot on edge rushers. They got 2 or 3 edge rushers in there. They got a few 4 or 5 wide receivers in there as well. They got a blocking tight end from Nebraska transfer as well. And it's really not a bad class for Mike Elko and the Texas A&M Aggies. I'm interested to see what they're going to do over there. Obviously, coming off a huge year and almost making to the SEC Championship and the College Football Playoff. So I'm very interested to see how those are going to factor into, of course, next season and who all is going to be getting to play for the Aggies as well. All right, let us talk about the number 9 transfer portal class according to On3Sports.com. That is the Auburn Tigers. Now, again, I'm an Auburn fan, so a little bit biased when it comes to this, but I'm very excited for the next year and years to come as well. A couple of notable transfers. Eric Singleton, the number 1 player in the transfer portal, of course, committed to Auburn from Georgia Tech, the wide receiver. Preston Howard, the tight end out of Maryland as well. Connor Gibbs, you got him in there as well. You also have the offensive lineman from Virginia Tech, and Xavier Chaplin, the best offensive lineman in the transfer portal. A lot of, industry rankings sites have, of course, said this. Hudson Kayak, the punter from Oklahoma State, is going to be a good addition to the special teams unit because, again, if you watched any of Auburn football, you would know about the special teams. You know, obviously, that the special teams was kind of where they needed to work on, and they ultimately did, in fact, get the punter right there as well. A running back from UConn and Darrell Robinson, 3-star running back, not a bad running back as well. And then, of course, to top it all off, you got Ashton Daniels, the transfer from Stanford, and you got Jackson Arnold, of course, a 4-star quarterback, the transfer from Oklahoma, 5-star coming out of high school. So, Auburn got their guys that they needed. Obviously, that's pretty much all that was going to happen for the Auburn Tigers. And ultimately, I'm very excited for next year. I can't wait to watch this Tigers team play. I'm very interested to see the offense next year, how the new quarterback is going to shape out. For the most part, I think everybody on the Plains is interested in that one. And it looks like Auburn got some good wide receivers and skill players in there as well. So, a great portal class for the Tigers as well. Let's talk about the number 18 and, of course, the Florida State Seminoles. Now, I don't know much about the Florida State team, but we do know, of course, what happened. They went 2-10, obviously, I believe, this past year. Not great, but ultimately they got a lot of good guys in the transfer portal. One of them being, of course, an inside linebacker from Wake Forest in the name of Luke Petebin. I believe he is a transfer from, of course, Wake Forest. 4-star is what it's saying. 91 overall transfer rating as well. Micah Pettis you got from Ole Miss. He was a really good offensive tackle for the Rebels as well. That's going to be really helpful for Gus Malzahn in that offense as well. Blocking for quarterbacks is going to be what they need. Deuce Robinson, probably one of the most notable transfers out of course, USC, excuse me. He played really well. Wide receiver, obviously, for the Trojans. He was, I believe, a 5-star coming out of high school. Yeah, 5-star coming out of high school, 4-star in the transfer portal. Florida State got themselves a good one with that one as well. And yeah, they just basically changed everything over there. They got an edge rusher, they got some offensive linemen, they got a tight end, they got obviously wide receivers, skill players that they needed. And ultimately, I'm very interested to see if Florida State can, of course, keep that momentum. And we'll see what the Seminoles are working with as well. Now, let us talk about the 2025 UCLA Bruins class for, of course, this transfer portal. Now, disclaimer, UCLA was not bad at all. I think, A, competing in the Big Ten was kind of tough for them, and I think, B, the schedule that they had was very, very hard as well. So, factor in those kind of things, obviously, as well. Playing non-conference teams like LSU, obviously, is going to get you as well. So keep that in mind when we're thinking about this UCLA team. They were not a bad team at all. And let's go ahead and break this transfer portal class down. They got a quarterback, Joey Aguilar, I believe, from California. He was the App State quarterback, transferred in from App State to UCLA. I believe one of the most notable ones is Robert Stafford, the quarterback from Miami. Of course, the 3-star coming out of the transfer portal as well. Scooter Jackson, another one that is pretty noticeable as well for the UCLA Bruins. You got Isaiah Chisholm, the Oregon State transfer, linebacker. He's going to be really solid for them as well. So it looks like they loaded up on guys that they needed to get. Obviously, again, keep in mind UCLA was not that bad. They just had a couple of things to get, and I think ultimately that they got what they needed to get, and they'll be an interesting team to watch in the Big Ten next year. That is for sure. But of course, let us move on to the next one, where it is the LSU Tigers, the number 5 overall class in the transfer portal. Josh Thompson, the transfer from Northwestern, obviously. There's one that's very notable. I'm looking down here at the list if you guys are wondering what I'm doing. Obviously, the transfer from Florida, the quarterback transfer from Florida, Jakeem Jackson is going to be a very noticeable one as well. They got a transfer from Jamari Butler, who went to actually Murphy High School here in Mobile. He's an LSU Tiger, transferred in from Nebraska. He's a 3-star coming out of the transfer portal as well. Those are just some of the guys that are going to be really good. Braylon Moore, 4-star inside-outside linebacker from Virginia Tech. You got a Texas defensive lineman, Sadir Mitchell, in there as well. So it looks like they loaded up on outside linebackers and defensive linemen as well. For the most part, if you're asking me, I think what Brian Kelly's doing over there is pretty good. I'm not. Again, we'll see what this LSU team is like here in the next season, if you will. And I think Brian Kelly is for sure on the hot seat after that one as well. Now, let us talk about the Oregon Ducks, because they have the number 4 transfer portal class. We're going to go every commit that they have. They only have like 3 or 4, so we're going to talk about them. However, one of them was a 3-star from IMG from USC. Defensive lineman Bear Alexander. He's obviously put up really good numbers for USC as well. Isaiah Wood, you got a Nevada transfer in there, 4-star. I believe he's an offensive tackle. Jamari Johnson, you got a 3-star tight end from Louisville as well. Alex Huckley, I believe you got a 4-star offensive tackle from Texas State. Northwestern transfer 4-star offensive tackle Teron Johnson as well. And then Dylan Thayman from, of course, Purdue, the safety, the 4-star as well. So a lot of 4 stars, a lot of 3 stars in there for Oregon Ducks fans. I'm very excited, especially along with the recruiting process for Oregon. Dan Lanning has got that group going. We'll see how well that they play out here next year, though, as well. Missouri, Michigan, Ole Miss, Texas Tech. We'll go over Texas Tech's class, the number 1 transfer portal class, and I think that's where we're going to wrap it up for the most part, obviously. For the most part, Texas Tech had a really, really solid transfer portal class. They got a 4-star running back, a 3-star edge rusher, a 4-star quarterback out of Purdue. They got a 4-star offensive tackle out of North Carolina. Obviously, they got Anthony Holmes from the defensive lineman from Houston. He's going to be very noticeable as well. Got a wide receiver, a 4-star wide receiver from Maryland and Weigel as well. So those are just a couple of the noticeable ones, as Texas Tech seems to have loaded up on pretty much everything. And Texas Tech going to be a good position to win the Big 12 next year. And that is for sure, as they come out with the number 1 overall class in the 2025 transfer portal. Anyway, that is going to where I'm going to leave it for today's video. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, turn that bell on, as we do our best to post on this channel every single day. I'm going to hop off, get this edited so you guys can watch it on time. Have a great rest of your day. Tomorrow we will have NFL reactions, so stay tuned for that one. Obviously, Wednesday we will have NFL predictions as well. Yes, it's New Year's Day, but we got to pump out some NFL predictions since we haven't done that, and it's the last week of the regular season as well. So hit that sub button, leave a comment down below. Let me know which transfer portal class you're the most excited about. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you all so much for watching. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.